From the blueberry fields to the backroads, this is the Jersey Oddcast, where weird is just the beginning, with Joseph F. Berenato, Gabriel J. Donio, and me, Gina Rullo. It's officially summer in New Jersey because we just got through Memorial Day. Are you guys ready for weekends at the shore?
I defer to Joe first on that one, Joe, since you just mentioned
Oh.
your view of that.
I'm going to go with no on that one. I don't like crowds. I don't like traffic. I work outside all day, so my idea of relaxing usually does not involve being outside even more unless I'm being paid for it. I may go at night and walk one of the boardwalks, but to say that I'm looking forward to sitting on the beach, I'm already a rotisserie at work. I'm not going to do that in my downtime. That's why 100,000 years it took us to perfect inside with air conditioning. And really, who am I to stand in the way of progress?
Yeah. I work in Cape May County most of the week, and now by osmosis have picked up a bit of the rhythm of the place, right down to earlier in last week. People were talking to me, locals in Ocean City, about going to City Hall to get their beach tags, which was completely foreign to me. I couldn't even think of an equivalent in Hammonton to that. And it was like actually
Fishing
quite,
license,
yeah,
maybe?
maybe it's not the same, but they're all pumped up about it. And I'm happy for them. Me, no, I don't think I'll be doing a ton of outside of doing my job down there. I don't think I'm going to be on the beach any more than Joe is, and I think those days are all behind me.
Yeah.
I certainly, everybody who wants to do it, it's the lifeblood of the economy down there.
Yeah.
And it's also just a great thing. Have fun. Summer's here. Everybody get on the boat, get on the beach, have a good time.
I
I
will say,
love the
go ahead.
idea of the shore and the communities. I don't like the beach. I burn like a whatever.
Lobster.
Yeah, but do lobsters burn no, thank you. But I like the shore communities in the fall, spring, and winter when there's less people. I'm just not a large crowd person. And sometimes in the summer, the boardwalks, that is too intense. The traffic makes me very angry. I'm happy to visit in off seasons or on rainy days.
When I lived in Ventnor, I enjoyed going at night. And that was one of those deals where, because parking was at such a premium, whatever spot you parked at 5 o'clock on Friday, make sure that you've got all your groceries done and everything you need to do, because you're not moving that car again until you have to go to work Monday morning, because otherwise you're going to be parking in Atlantic City. And I enjoyed going to the beach at night, walking around and getting food in town. But to say actually going and sitting on the beach during the day, maybe once a year is enough for me.
You're saying you went on the beach at night?
Yeah.
That's a Walt Whitman poem. Did you know that?
I think I did at
Yeah.
one point, yes.
Like, that's courtesy of my 10th grade English teacher, Mr. Heston. That's the reason I know that.
Mr.
But
Heston.
but that would be fun. It sounds like. Did you go to the Ventnor Beach? Is that what you did?
Yeah, walk along the shore. It was nice and relaxing. People usually just sitting there having a good time. Every now and again, for reasons passing understanding, there'd be a bagpiper, which was cool. But
You know this from living down there. I'm working down there. It is a totally different vibe.
oh, 100%.
Just slower.
Mhm.
Everything is. They are not in any rush to do anything, even though there's a crush of people summer. But the overall attitude of people who live there 12 months a year compared to, say, mainlanders like us in Hammonton is like night and day.
Yeah, and real quick before we move on, along that lines, the attitudes of those who live down there. I think this was when Hurricane Hermine was coming through, and we were down at the fishing pier, and there were these two old ladies there, and they were just smoking cigarettes, looking off into the distance, and we're like, we slept in the kitchen during the storm of 64. This ain't gonna be anything. Flicked it off into the ocean, walked away, and I'm like, okay, I guess we're not going to die with this storm, so that's something cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of people in Hammonton and being mainlanders, Hammonton announced its tax increase for 2025. Joe, can you tell us a little bit more about what was discussed at the council meeting on May 19th?
Absolutely, I can. At the May 19th council meeting, according to Robert Charlet, who I believe is Hammonton's chief financial officer, not only did the state cut funding, but there's no more ARP money, the American Rescue Plan, which resulted in the loss in the amount of approximately $402,000. Benefits are up around $250,000. Salaries are down approximately 600. I'm sorry, reverse that. Benefits are up roughly $250,000, and salaries are also up approximately $598,000. Now, the reason for that, according to Councilman Forgione at the meeting, was that this was done to allow the town to offer more competitive salaries compared to surrounding municipalities. And the mayor noted that the town had been losing employees to other municipalities with higher salaries. So this is an attempt not just to attract, but to keep the ones that we've got. All that is to say that the budget will see a tax increase in the amount of 1.99 cents, so just under 2 cents. The figures that the mayor gave at the meeting on a property that's assessed at, and this is an interesting amount, $223,872. This would, according to the mayor, mean a tax increase of roughly $44.55 per year, or roughly $3.75 per month, give or take. So I thought that 1.99 cents was an interesting amount. I'm guessing that we must have gotten a coupon somewhere.
Or they don't want Gabe making references to one of his favorite movies and just changing $2 to 2 cents.
Yeah, a little Better Off Dead reference.
Yeah.
2 weeks, $2. In this case, 2 cents. Or they didn't want people saying that commercial, that's my 2 cents.
That
You
could
know,
be.
that they don't want that joke being made all over. But I think they always, yeah, it's all a bit of a game. Joe details it about why it sounds like that it happened. You do wonder, we'd have to go look this up, what the rateable base is now. And you just wonder, it's growing. I know it's growing. So I just wonder, like, why is it always, it seems like that we have these increases. Why does it always seem like that's happening? Especially
I,
if we're bringing in more revenue.
I don't think it's
Answer is,
unreasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable. I think it's a pretty standard tax increase. Do you know what I mean? I don't know that everything is we're bringing in enough to offset that in taxes and in our increase in our rateable base. So I'm going to say it's pretty fair. 2 cents, like you said, $45 roughly, rounding it up. That's pretty manageable for the majority of people.
I would think. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and Rob Charlet seemed to indicate that it was a good budget. He seems fairly satisfied each year. I know we've
Yeah.
had, this is a smaller increase than we've had in recent years. I think 2 or 3 years ago it was 3 cents, 2 cents. Maybe 5 years ago there was actually no increase, but that's always the exception. That's almost never the rule. But he tends to look at our increase compared to surrounding municipalities, information I do not immediately have. So
On that point, obviously, yeah, you look at what other municipalities are doing and where are we. The other thing, you may not have the information for this either, but I would say, since Forgione brought it up, do you feel, I wonder, or does the council feel we are, in fact, did they say anything about we are, in fact, hiring better people because we have the ability to pay them more? Are they
I
getting better candidates? I don't know.
I think, and I'd have to go and rewatch the recording, but I believe the mayor indicated that some people who had left for better pay were coming back or starting to come back. So if it's working, cool.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I appreciate that, Joe. In other news around town, St. Joseph Academy held its high school graduation on May 22nd. The event was held at the Cathedral Event Center. This is St. Joe Academy's, let's see here,
It is
fifth
2025.
graduation?
It is their 5th graduation. Yes.
Yeah, so St. Joe
Wow.
Academy used to be St. Joseph High School. The diocese closed down their diocesan high school, and then St. Joseph Academy emerged after that. So this is their 5th graduations. Congratulations to them, and best wishes to all those graduates.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's nice to see that the facility is being used in the heart of the downtown and that it's
Yeah.
been half a decade. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And once again, the three of us were not invited to speak.
Right. We never get invited, do we?
No.
No. I don't.
You know,
I
I
am
mean,
available.
Same.
I wrote a speech again, but I don't even have the ability to publish it. I guess I could put it up on social media or on a website or something, but
Gabe Donio starting a blog.
never know.
Yeah.
I never know what's next. But no, no invite. Crickets from
Yeah,
my
you would
alma
think,
mater.
given our proximity to the school, Mr. Capuccio would be like, "Yo, Gabe, hey Gina, you guys want to come give a graduation speech?" Nothing.
Yeah,
And
we didn't go to St. Joe. I went to Hammonton.
Mr. Capuccio and I used to play together as children. His grandparents lived right
Right.
behind us. Come on,
Exactly.
Yeah,
Steve. Give me
we
the
all
ball.
have connections.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't we be? I think we'd all be eloquent speakers. My
I
mom
do
and
too.
dad were class of '56 of the former St. Joe.
And look, we
My
used to get great interns when we had the newspaper from St. Joe,
Right.
including one of our interns who's getting married this week.
Yeah,
So,
we have a few interns that were St. Joe. All of them were great. They
my
were all
my
great.
my father was not an alumni, but he did attend St. Joe, I think, until about 6th grade, when it was politely suggested that he should go elsewhere, I believe.
You need to leave.
we're gonna have to get that story from your dad.
I want to hear it.
If people are looking to move to Hammonton to attend St. Joseph, so their kids could attend St. Joseph Academy, Gabe, who should they call to find their next home or business location?
Gina, we all know there's two great school districts here in Hammonton. You have the Hammonton School District, you have St. Joe Academy, of course. And if people want to move here, a great place to go is Crowley and Carr Real Estate. If you're looking to buy or sell your home or commercial property in South Jersey, call Phil Carr, owner of Crowley and Carr Real Estate. Crowley and Carr is the best place in town to find the best place in town. Call them at 609 561 0505 or go to Facebook or Instagram.
This episode, as we know, dropped on May 27th, which is 2 weeks from the New Jersey primary. However, if you're ambitious, you can begin voting early. Gabe, can you tell us what's happening with the New Jersey primary?
I sure can, Gina. And everyone's going to want this information if you're going to vote in that primary. Obviously, it doesn't always generate a ton of people, especially when there's uncontested local races like the Republicans are running unopposed.
But we have
The
a very contested gubernatorial
Well,
race.
I was going to get to that. And
Okay.
so what I was going to say is the Democrats have no slate and they're not. So that kind of draws people away from it. But yes, we do have a very hotly contested primary for the gubernatorial race on both sides. And every county will provide registered voters with the option of voting early in the 2025 primary election. Early voting locations will be open Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025 through Sunday, June 8th, 2025, which is the in-person early voting period. Hours will be Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. No appointment is necessary. Now you can go to the Hammonton Family Success Center at 310 Bellevue Avenue in Hammonton, New Jersey. And on Tuesday, June 10th, Election Day, the polls will be open from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. And there's a county ballot online. So that's most of what people should know. You know that there's a number of candidates for both the Republican and Democratic gubernatorial primary races. And it's right now, look, it's not necessarily a slam dunk on either side. I know people know about endorsements and different things that have happened. So if you go in as an educated voter, there's plenty of time to vote with the early voting and also on June 10th, which is the actual election day.
No, I appreciate that, Gabe. Everyone who is a registered Republican or Democrat should be getting information in the mail if they haven't already about where your polling place is. It's your usual polling place. And it is important to vote in the primary, especially with a contested gubernatorial election. We need to know who our candidates are. And that's being decided on June 10th. And then there'll be the 5-month race until actual election day when the next governor of New Jersey is decided. But this is the time to get out and have a say on who you want your party to have on the ballot in November.
Yeah, and it's also an interesting look for, in the case of the local Republican Party, to see those numbers such as they are when they come out, because that you do sometimes can look at it and say, okay, is it a little bit of a poll for what's coming in November. It could be.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know. I look forward to it. I love election day. Anytime we get out there, go push the buttons. It's always fun. Although I think the last couple years I've done early voting and I'm like, does my vote really count? Is this really happening?
Do you feel it's not like real voting?
Yes, but it's
Like,
less peoply, which is why I go. Because sometimes the polling places can be peoply, and I want less people.
like the boardwalk down the shore, you're
Yes.
saying the same crush of, you don't like that. So you
No.
want to go early.
The only time I did early voting was in 2020 when I believe we were all required to send in a ballot. But since then, election day, I'm at the polling place. I am not registered with either party, so I cannot participate in the primaries.
Yeah.
But no, election day, I'm there that day. It's a ritual.
And Joe
It's,
Berenato loves a ritual. He really does.
I do.
you do.
Oh, I do. I am certainly a creature of ritual and habit.
Gabe, this right now, we are getting into the best of New Jersey produce season. And the county has announced an opportunity for eligible seniors. Can you tell us about it, please?
Yeah, it's a necessary, I think, program for a lot of seniors 60 years and older in Atlantic County who would be considered low income. And they can request a $40 credit to purchase fresh fruits, vegetables, and herbs at participating local farmers markets beginning June 1st through November 25th to 2025. So this is coming to us from the Atlantic County Division of Intergenerational Services, which will provide access and information to interested residents who meet the age and income eligibility guidelines established by the state. Now, those income guidelines are: the annual gross income cannot exceed $2,413 per month or $28,953 per year for a single person, and $3,261 per month or $39,128 annually for a couple. So the vouchers will be distributed in person at select senior nutrition centers and senior facilities, and a participating farmer will be in attendance on select dates. The applicants must provide information, proof of income, identification, proof of residency. And those who meet those requirements will receive a QR code with a $40 balance that can be used all at once or in multiple trips to participating farmers markets. The distribution events are throughout the county. They're 10 to 1 p.m. at each location. There's various sites throughout the county. In Hammonton, it's at the Hammonton Senior Center on Tuesday, July 8th. And residents may call 1-888-426-9243 Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. for more information. Applications will not be accepted by phone until the week of July 21st for those who are unable to attend any in-person event. Vouchers will be provided on a first-come, first-served basis, but it's a great program. It's been around, I think, for a little bit, and it's also something that I think is great because it really embraces the local agricultural industry and kind of fuses that with helping people who really are in need.
It's good to see our county has so many different options for people of different income levels, ages, and this also helps keep the garden in the garden state too. It helps support our farmers
Yep.
and our farm stands, and there's something worthy about that.
Without a
$40
doubt.
doesn't sound like a heck of a lot, but every little bit counts when you are lower income.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I applaud this, and I hope to see a lot of our local and area seniors participate.
No, I agree with that. $40 doesn't sound like it goes very far, but when you're talking about produce at a farm market, it can go quite far, and vegetables can be frozen if need be.
Yeah, and
True
it's the
enough.
difference between going hungry and not
Yeah,
for some people.
yeah.
Gabe, if I need to read more about this voucher program and I need glasses, where should I go?
You should go to Hammonton Family Eye Care, Gina. See Hammonton Family Eye Care for routine and medical eye care for all ages, from glasses like the ones I'm wearing right now, to contacts, to eye exams, and more. Visit Hammonton Family Eye Care at Peachtree Plaza, 80 South Whitehorse Pike in Hammonton. Call 609-567-7479 or go to hammontonfamilyeyecare.com.
We are doing a weekly update on what's happening with the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel since this is the 150th. And Joe, we saw some interesting news posted over the weekend that the annual, or the new annual, I guess I should say, race has been set. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I would imagine that you were talking about the annual running of the sandwiches. I think last year was the first year that it was held, if I'm not mistaken. Individuals dressed up in mascot type costumes of, I believe they are sausage and peppers, red roast beef, roast pork and broccoli rabe, and meatball, if I'm not mistaken, only in Hammonton. They
So
have a
true.
race on 3rd Street,
Yeah.
and I think they start from the Sons of Italy Hall. That will be on Sunday, July 13th, and that is the day where they're starting to really kick off the whole 150th feast week. That will be around 4 p.m. And then that night at Hammonton High School, there is going to be a drone show with somewhere between 300 and 400 drones showing the story of the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and then that will be followed up by the first of 3 fireworks displays that week. So,
Is that going to be actual fireworks or drone fireworks? Do we know?
actual fireworks after the drone show.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's, in addition to the drone show, you get fireworks display, and in addition to the usual one fireworks display on the 16th of July, there's 3. What are the
Yes.
dates of those 3?
The first one is July 13th after the drone show. The second, of course, is on July 16th. And then the third will be on the Saturday closing out the feast week. So that would be 16, 17 on the 19th.
You used your
There will be.
fingers, didn't you?
Yeah,
No, I looked at a calendar like a grown up.
guys, if you think about it, this whole thing is coming together and is already happening. We had the concert, which went off very well with the Golden Boys, Frankie Avalon, Fabian, Tony Como. You have everything you just enumerated, from sandwich races, which children of all ages seem to enjoy,
Yeah.
to a drone show, to fireworks display, to 2 more fireworks displays, and then everything else that we know is coming with the block long carnival and the bands and the music
Mhm.
and all the just everything that comes with the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. But it all does seem augmented. Oh, and the Marion,
Yeah,
the concert.
the concert, which is this Friday, the 30th, at I believe 7 p.m. That is going to be the choir of the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception
Yeah.
this Friday, 7 p.m. at St. Joseph's Church, where they will be performing Marian music. They will be premiering the hymn that the parish had commissioned from Kathleen Pluth and Frank LaRocca. And then on the 16th, also, besides everything else, we've got the Mass that the parish commissioned that will be premiered at the 2 p.m. Mass, during which the bishop will be performing the canonical coronation. So, quite a lot going on this year for the 150th.
Yeah, secular and non secular, everything is up. And I have to say, credit to all the people at the parish and at the Our Lady Mount Carmel Society and all of the different societies who pitch in and the volunteers. It already feels bigger than ever
Oh,
for
yeah.
the 150th. So they're already impressing everybody with what they're doing. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in July. And not just because it's my birthday, but I'm going to say this. I really do feel like we're all blessed, and I'm not using that word lightly, to be able to be here and experience this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're all looking forward to it. We're also proud of our merchandise that we have here at the Oddcast. Joe, can you tell us a little bit about our merch line?
Absolutely. You want mugs? We got them. You want tumblers, magnets, hats? We got them. Shirts? We got them in black and green.
Woohoo!
And all you have to do
Looking
is
good.
visit jersey-oddcast.printify.me, and we are donating all of the profits through July 1st to the Mount Carmel Festival. So you're buying cool stuff and you're helping out a good cause all at the same time.
We
Yeah,
want to thank
people.
everyone who's ordered so far, and we can't wait to see what that total is going to be when we make our donation this
Yep.
summer. So thank
I
you.
was saying that people are eager to pick up stuff and support the cause, and that's great. And also, they love it. They love how it looks. They love the hat. They love the shirts. They love the mug. There
Yeah.
you go. Joe's got it on. Looking good.
Thank
Joe's
you.
stylish as always.
Absolutely.
Looking good.
Thanks. If we want to have a fence built to trap our favorite sandwiches, the characters, not the actual items we eat, who should we
That
call,
would be
Joe?
a felony. Yes.
That's no good.
Yes. But if you're not looking to commit a felony, then you should absolutely call Master Wire Fence. For more than 40 years, Master Wire Manufacturing Fence Company has been providing the South Jersey and tri-state area with residential and commercial fence supplies and services. Whether you're looking for quality products to do it yourself or are in need of a trustworthy fencing company to install your fence, they've got you covered. Master Wire Manufacturing Fence Company provides the highest quality products and customer service to each and every person who walks through their doors or gives them a call. Contact Master Wire at 609-567-1616 or visit their website at masterwirefence.net.
Thank you. Last week, Toni Marinelli passed away at the age of 88. I believe she passed away on May 19th. She is best known for operating Tony's Custard, a successful seasonal family-owned and operated restaurant on 12th Street, Route 54. For more than 30 years, her and her family served some of the best custard and dinners and lunches at that roadside stand. And I have so many wonderful memories of going there when I first moved to the area. She is survived by her husband of more than 67 years, Ed Marinelli, who is also a former Hammonton mayor, her 2 daughters, her sisters, and grandchildren. A Mass of Christian burial will be celebrated on Saturday, May 31st at St. Joseph's Church, and a viewing will be held on Friday, May 30th at the Marinella Funeral Home. More information can be found on Marinella's website. Toni was also a dedicated volunteer for the St. Joseph food stand for the feast week, for speaking of Mount Carmel, and you could often find her in the stand helping prepare food there. She's just had a wonderful presence, larger than life, fiercely devoted to her family, and she's going to be definitely missed. But she's one of those iconic Hammonton women that when you say women of Hammonton, she is someone I often think of.
Yeah. And that is saying something in the sense that we have a lot of iconic
Yeah.
women who've lived here. And Tonians have a certain spark or life. I think that when I think of Tony's Custard, I think it was like a magnet for that area of town. You went there because you wanted to go there. It
Yeah.
wasn't like you were necessarily on your way to somewhere else. You were going to Tony's Custard because Tony and Eddie were there, and they made that place almost like a second home for a lot of people.
Yeah, you didn't just happen to be in the neighborhood. Yeah.
And so many good memories were made there. Joe, like that counter, or
Oh.
sitting at one of those tables, or one of their Italian nights, or just if you were there to get custard or whatever.
With your
Custard,
softball or
burgers,
baseball
whatever. I
team.
mean,
Right. Absolutely. You would go, almost the whole group would go over there. And again, it was across town, which sounds like, oh, it's not that far. Yeah, it was. You went out of your way. And I think Tony was really, to me, in that kitchen, it was the engine of that place and driving it, in the sense that everything you ate was made with that kind of love and made her way. Such a memorable place.
yeah, absolutely.
Did
And
you
very
go there a
telling.
lot, Joe, from the farm? Because your farm was on that side of town?
No, we normally went home. Every now and again, we would stop there for ice cream, but that was like at night you wanted dinner or you wanted a treat. That's where you went. Usually at the end of the day, people were really just too damn tired to stop
Yeah,
anywhere and
yeah.
eat. You went home, you got showered, you passed out for an hour, then you regrouped and came up with a new plan.
But a lot of people did go. And look, I was going to say the most telling thing is this, guys, and let's face it. Tony and Eddie, they had their time there. And then when they left, when you track it, what you can really say is that nothing really ever held a candle to
No.
what they did after
No.
they weren't there. And now it's not a restaurant. It should tell you something about how important they were. And Toni passing away now, especially, was not just to that restaurant, but to Hammonton, for sure.
Yeah.
Were you going to say something about burgers there, Joe?
Yes, they were tasty. They were very good. You go, you get a burger, get some ice cream or custard afterwards, and it was a good night. It
I
was
always say the cranberry queen salad that they had, that they came up with after Kathleen DeMarco's book came out, The Cranberry Queen. And that was like one of the best salads. And I could still remember it and taste it in my mind. Like such a good salad.
I'm going to have to take your word for that. I am not known, and I think I've said this before. If you see me ordering a salad in public, look at my face because I may be signaling to you that I've been kidnapped.
If I
Or
see you
it's not-
eating mushrooms, I know that would be the case.
Oh, yeah, if I order a mushroom pizza, that's my code. Yes, I'll have extra mushrooms. Call the cops.
Yeah, or
Right
it's
now.
not you. Maybe it's like your pod person.
Check the back of my neck and see if there's anything sticking out.
Well,
Yeah.
you may not have eaten a salad at Tony's Custard, but I guarantee you, you probably had, like you said, a burger or
Oh, yeah.
Fried chicken.
the
Yeah.
fried chicken.
Oh,
Do you remember
yeah.
the guy, Gina, that was up on the roof? They had the sign with a guy holding a big drumstick. And it's such a roadside attraction. But I think the whole thing about Tony's was, I think it meant, if you think maybe this is the best note to end on for iconic women, it was named after her.
Yeah.
That
One
should
of
tell
our
you
great Tonys with an I. And let's keep that discussion going about iconic women of Hammonton, though. There have been some really remarkable women that Hammonton has had in its past. And I'm thinking only women who've passed away because we have some really strong women who are still living. But when I think about some of the women who've passed who've really made their mark, and I even think about some of the ones that I've known, first, always top of my mind will be Millicent Sophia. She was that, I can't believe she's not from the South because she had such a delivery of a woman from the South. But she was that velvet coated, steel wrapped in velvet, like such a strong woman, great business, knew what she was doing, but also would do anything for her friends. And, she's been gone almost 20 years, and I think about her often. And that's one
Yeah.
for me. Who else is on your list of iconic?
you guys were friends.
Yeah,
It's not
Millicent
like
was a good friend.
Yeah, you knew her.
Along that, one more thing about Millicent that always impressed me, and this town doesn't have anymore, is that if you had a family member, friend, loved one who died and you were planning their funeral, didn't matter what time it was, Millicent would come to your house to discuss the flower arrangements. And it's not a service that existed very much in the area, and I don't think that happens. What florist legitimately is going to come to your house at 10 o'clock at night to talk about flowers? Millicent would do that. And that was special. It was absolutely special.
Yeah, and she was a
Really.
champion for the downtown. She believed in the downtown when there was no reason to, when it was floundering. She was one of a couple of business owners. And she even doubled her space on Bellevue Avenue and really gave it like style and just really knew what she was doing. Although she had one of the creepiest basements in downtown.
Yes. Yes, it
And
was.
she always said there was a ghost down there because I think that used to be a butcher shop or
Nope.
or
Nope.
an
Nope.
A&P.
It was
Mm.
Press Department Store,
Yeah,
and
that
it was,
yeah.
and according to the family, it was the ghost of Mrs. Press who
Is
would
that who it was?
wander around. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thank you. So I never went down to that basement by myself. I always made sure I had a couple other staff members with me because no thank you. But let's go back. Who are some more iconic Hammonton women that we could think of?
On my end, I've got a couple. I will say I was very fortunate growing up to be around a lot of these women because after church on Sundays, we would get my mother's family members, and my mother's family members were like Gilda Ruberton, who was married to M.L. Ruberton, and there was my own grandmother, Ida Balazzo, and then we'd have
Dorothy Berenato.
Marietta. I was going to say Dorothy Bernard, but she would always come over on
Okay.
Sunday. But Marietta Ordilli, Toppy, Richie, and so we said Millie Falciani. But yeah, her first cousins were Dottie Bernardo and Margie Palea. A lot of these people won nice going awards. A lot of these people won awards from the chamber. Juliette Falciani was another one who was a president of the chamber and also a business owner. And then I thought across the street would be Anna Bertino visiting her sister.
That was going to be mine. You can't
Right.
talk
Yeah.
about a list of
Anna
iconic
Bertino.
women without her. Yeah.
I remember the week of the 16th of July, they would put lawn chairs out to watch the fireworks over the front lawn of the Pasalacquas, who lived across from me. So that would be Sarah Pasalacqua and her son Vince and his wife Marie and Stacy, then Pasalacqua, now Peretti. And we would sit there, they'd sit out, and Anna Bertino would just hold court. And there's this, you want to talk about an iconic woman.
Yeah.
Who was a businesswoman and a brain on her that was like unreal. And not that Sarah was right there with her as her sister, but just obviously Anna had run a clothing factory and this sort of thing. So I was very blessed because these were strong women, smart women. They cared about the community. And the bottom line is all of them had this unbelievable personality and cared about their families, but cared about business interests and other things. Really something to see when you think about it.
Who else do you have, Joe?
Anna Bertino was at the top of my list, truthfully. If we're talking about those who have passed, I could speak about many who are still with us.
Yeah.
I would also include Grace Patera in that list.
Good one.
Yeah, she was just a driving force in town activities for many years.
They were innovative ideas. They weren't just same old ideas.
Yeah, they were great, and I used to love that's where I was going, the Huck Finn Day that she would have. They were fun, and she was friendly, and she was knowledgeable, and she knew town history. Everybody liked Grace. I'd put her right up there, and she was a sweetheart. She was great to work with.
I think also you have to, if you're going to do that, then we'll say that she was enlisted to be a columnist at the local newspaper, and obviously did that for, I think, 13 years weekly.
I think that's about right.
Which is a career. And she grabbed the bull by the horns, layering that on top of everything you just said, Joe, rightfully, all those unique ideas. And then on top of that, came up with a column that was appointment reading for a lot of people for literally more than a decade.
Yeah.
Her column about porches always stands out to me. Let's go think about Irma Adams, Irma Tilton, Mrs. Andrew Jackson Ryder, who I believe, Gabe, you said started the Women's Civic Club, right?
Correct. She did.
I think her first name was Ida.
Ryder, I believe.
Yeah. Some really phenomenal women.
And I think you have to add in more recent, and it's tough to talk about, but Christine Massarelli. Yeah. When you look at her as a business person, but then coming on board with the original group from Hammonton First, and the work that she did in her 2-year tenure on council was phenomenal. So I think Christine is another one who's iconic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Christine, that one is still very sad. It's been, I believe, 5 years, but still hard to think about. But yeah, coming on to town council, international success with her business, just no nonsense brain, and then said, yep, I'm going to get involved in the town. I think there's something remarkable about that. And Sarah DeChico is another one. She was a long time Main Street Hammonton volunteer. She was treasurer for a long time. She was the manager of our local Sears, was very involved with the Chamber of Commerce. Again, a neat woman, very balanced in business and civic life. And she was under the radar in a lot of ways. So again, iconic women of Hammonton. I'm sure this list can go on, but if you have any, please let us know. We're happy to take some of those ideas. And if you'd like to pay your respects to the Marinelli family, again, there's an obituary online at Marinella Funeral Home. And Gabe, can you tell us some more about the Marinella Funeral Home?
I certainly can, Gina. Marinella Funeral Home has been serving the community since 1962 and has been family owned and operated for 3 generations. Marinella Funeral Home provides individually designed burial, cremation, and pre-planned funeral services to meet the needs of each family. Ask them about how pre-planning provides true peace of mind to your family. Contact the Marinella Funeral Home, located at 102 North 3rd Street in Hammonton, at 609-561-1311.
For me, Memorial Day weekend is the countdown to blueberry season. And while the two of you I know are not the world's biggest blueberry fans, I love them. We are getting close. Like I drive by the field, you could tell there's a lot more activity going on. And as our former grower in residence, Joe, what's happening out on the field?
I did have a chance to talk to a few growers last week, and
Any Joe
they
Bernatos in that discussion?
maybe very possible.
Might have been.
Yeah, you can't really have a discussion about blueberries without including at least one Joe Bernato. So, besides myself.
Yes.
But as I understand, pollination was fantastic this year. And that makes sense because if you look at the weather that we've had, it was fairly warm, very little moisture during the pollination period. There were some years in the past where it was cold and drizzly and rainy, and bees just don't work in that kind of weather. But the pollination
Their
was
union
good.
won't let them.
That's my dad always said that bees are like union workers. They only work when it's warm and sunny. But I
Yeah.
wasn't going to say it. But
Wow,
yeah,
that's I don't know that the Teamsters or AFL-CIO have reached the bee population yet.
Maybe the Communication
Not-
Workers of America.
excuse me.
Could be the CWA.
Could be. At any rate, good pollination means that there's good berry growth, good blossoms, and they're sizing up nicely. We've had a spate of cooler weather, which holds off on ripeness. So I would say right now, unless we get warm weather to really push things going, used to be once upon a time, conventional wisdom said that picking would start around Father's Day. Now, we've had some years where it was so warm earlier in the year where some farms have actually started picking before Memorial Day. This is not going to be one of those years. I would say within a couple of days of Father's Day, you can look for the first harvest, unless there's someone who just wants to be first and picks like one blueberry out of a cluster of 35 green berries. Probably looking at another 2.5 weeks before it
Yeah.
really gets rolling.
You're saying the other growers, the other farmers will be like, there's that guy. He's
Yep.
got to be
Yeah.
just.
It's always got to be a day
Yeah.
before everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Then blueberry season starts. We have the Blueberry Festival. All the blueberry snacks are out. The ice cream will be pumping over at Royal Crown. It'll be fun. It'll be good. We also have Hammonton Hawks is having their registration for their summer league. Gabe, can you give us some details?
Yes, I can, Gina. And it's funny because we just get done talking about blueberry season and then you think summer. And then we're talking about hawks, which I always associate with more of an autumn thing, but it's fine. I think
Summer
because the
flag
kids are going
football
to be.
is lighter. It's easier.
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't think I think it's a good thing because the kids are out of school and they want something to do,
Yeah.
and this is fun, and this is what we're talking about. So, the Hawks flag football registration, yes, it's open, and the summer league runs from June 23rd to August 4th. Boys will have their 2025 summer flag football, and girls will also have 2025 summer flag football. There's websites you can go to if you go to social media information to register and what to do. Now, remember, registration closes on 5/31, May 31st.
That's right around the
So
corner.
Yeah, it's coming right up.
be on it, okay? Because there's not going to be a lot of time. But the league itself runs from the June 23rd to August 4th.
I
And
wonder.
I think it's a great thing.
I wonder if we're going to see more girls involved, only because there's such a love right now for women's rugby because of Olympian Alona Mar, and she was then on Dancing with the Stars, and now there's strong attendance and some really great records being broken in that. And I guess locally, girls flag football would be the closest to rugby that we have. Is that accurate, Gabe? And I'm asking you because you're the most sports one of the three of us.
I'm going to say to you, yes, because I have a friend, I've known her for 30 years. She's been involved with rugby since her collegiate days, and she's involved in women's rugby on a high level. And she's seen the explosion as women's sports. We've seen it in basketball, now women's rugby, soccer, obviously. So, yeah, I think flag football will benefit from that because a rising tide raises all boats. I think everything is going up with women's sports, and I think you're going to see this elevated as well. And the other thing I'm going to say is that they've done a heck of a job over there. If you haven't been behind the middle school lately, the facility that they have and where they're going to play the flag football, which is the same place that they play Hawks football, it's a great facility and it's a great place to watch a game. So why wouldn't you do it if you and a parent would enjoy being out there? I think it's going to explode this summer. So hopefully everybody who wants to get involved gets involved, particularly the girls, for sure.
Joe, you were not in the Hawks, right?
I was not in the Hawks, no. I used to go and watch Hawks games. My friends were in the Hawks. I was not in the Hawks, no. My glasses and the potential for tackling were not a good combination. And the only place where we played flag football was in gym class in elementary school, sometimes when Vince DeLaurentis was our coach, but even that was often tackle. Flag football was not an option when I was young.
I'm glad you mentioned Vince because I don't want to leave this out. Frankie Avalon came to town. His grandmother was Conchetta De Laurentiis. Conchetta De Laurentiis, crossing guard of the De Laurentiis family, and herself, another iconic Hammonton woman.
It's amazing how they just pop up to you. That's great. Conchetta De Laurentiis is definitely in that list.
For sure.
Yeah.
Good memory, Gabe. I have something that Joe can enjoy. The 10th annual Food Truck Festival is going to be here before we know it. Saturday, June 7th, 4 to 9 p.m. in downtown. They're expecting more than 35 food trucks. There's going to be a beer garden. There's going to be live music. There's going to be some sort of kids' activity zone. Downtown stores will be open late. This sounds like a tasty thing to do. What do you think, Joe? Are you going to be heading out to the 10th annual Food Truck Fest?
Probably, and I am probably going to be getting there early. And I imagine I will also be walking there because it'll be closer parking here than it would trying to park there. Might as well just park at home and walk. I live like a mile or 3/4 of a mile from the downtown. But yeah, I've gone in the past. I went to the first one. That was, how do I put this?
Chaos.
That was better. It was better attended than they were anticipating.
Yeah.
How's that?
Gabe traded a fan for donuts, I think, that day.
I did. A guy needed a fan in his truck, and he was burning up in the truck. I just remember the crush of people made my boardwalk experience on Saturday this past weekend look like a walk in the park. There were so many people. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be a lot of people here and that people shouldn't be put off because there's crowds. That's part of the fun. But it's crowded.
Yeah, it's crowded, but it's unlike the first year in the early years where it was simply along Bellevue Avenue. They're in some of the artery streets, which alleviates some of the congestion. And now, at least the food trucks, when they come here, since when we had our first one, food truck festivals were relatively new.
Yeah.
But now everybody knows what to expect. So if they need to bring an extra hand, they bring an extra hand. There are plenty of food trucks for people from which to choose. And I'll be heading down and buying, I don't know what yet, but I will be enjoying something because I've been a fan of food trucks and food carts my whole life. I think that's
love a food cart.
Some of the best food out there. Yeah.
Give me a dirty water dog any day of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you're from New York. You guys, you live on those things.
Pretty much.
Dirty water dogs, delicious. But it's something about being outside, and people say, "Wow, you want to line up for food in a food truck?" Yeah, that's part of the experience. It's part of the fun. And then you eat outside. Don't they have beer gardens now?
I believe they do.
Is that correct? Yeah.
I don't drink beer, but I appreciate the effort.
I'll drink beer, but usually if I'm going to be drinking, I'm walking or I'm only having one in the first 4 hours of an event. So I'm walking, I'll be all right.
There you go.
Very cool. If food trucks are not your thing and you want to make yourself something delicious for a meal, Gabe, where should our listeners go?
They should go no further than Bagley Annie's Market, where they always say we treat our customers like family. With a variety of custom cut meats, farm fresh produce, delicious cheeses, a full deli, and more, Bagley Annie's Market has something for everyone. They are famous for their wide variety of authentic Italian specialty products. Try their Italian bread and rolls, prepared foods, and homemade pasta. Follow their social media for weekly loyalty reward promos. Bagley Annie's Market is located at 417 12th Street in Hammonton. Call 609-561-0693 or visit Facebook and Instagram for more information.
Thanks, Gabe. Ann Arbor City is going to be home to a workshop for writers. Gabe, can you tell us a little bit about this event?
I sure can, Gina. I think that as a writer, it's great to see this kind of stuff because it gives young people a sense, or any people, a sense of hope and interest in writing. So it's free. It's a Words of Purpose literary workshop, June 14th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So there's a 2-hour interactive session led by author Edna J. White, featuring writing exercises, storytelling techniques, and opportunities for participants to share their work in a supportive environment. For teens, adults, and professionals interested in creative expression or therapeutic applications of writing. That's really the thrust of this. Yeah. And registration is required no later than June 5th by calling Meredith at 609-965-1813 or by emailing Zion Lutheran Church, EHC@gmail.com. And just a little bit about the author. Edna J. White is a motivational speaker and the best-selling curator of Women Right Now and Stuff, the stuff no one told us about life after sexual abuse. She's also a real estate broker, instructor, and coach. She is also a successful entrepreneur, inspirational storytelling expert, blogger, podcaster, and talk show host. This will be at the Zion Lutheran Church, 312 Philadelphia Avenue, Egg Harbor City, and sponsored by the Atlantic County Library System's Egg Harbor City branch.
I love when we can get people together to talk about writing and get honest feedback and critique, and maybe you take inspiration from those people as well. There's something to be said for that. And if I was still writing as much as I used to, I would probably attend this event. Joe, have you been to similar workshops as a writer?
Yes, I don't know that I've necessarily been to this one, or to one similar to this, but writing workshops in general, absolutely, I have. Whether it was special classes offered at college or science fiction conventions, actually, believe it or not, they are a wonderful place to attend writing workshops.
Okay.
And because you're there with people who are obviously published. They give you the ins and outs of fiction writing. I've been to ones about memoir, creative nonfiction, and it's helpful. Even like people like us who have been writing for 30 years, there's more to learn and there's always more to hone. With this being available right down the pike, I think it's invaluable for anyone who enjoys the written word.
Yeah, I agree.
So please check that out. And again, our library system offers really interesting events. All you have to do is go to their website and find out what's happening in the area to take advantage of some of these programs. If you're not a member of the Atlantic County Library, we highly recommend it, or your county library. There's a great digital collection, music collection, and so much more that the library systems offer for free, which makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Speaking of things to do in New Jersey, this one's a little close to my heart. It's the New Jersey Renaissance Fair. As some of you may know, and by some of you, I mean Gabe, I used to work at a Renaissance Fair back in high school and early college. And not the New Jersey one, but one in New York. So the fact that New Jersey has their own is amazing. There are still 2 weekends left, May 31st and June 1st, and June 7th and 8th. It's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Burlington County Fairgrounds, 1990 Jacksonville Jobstown Road in Columbus. And to the NJ Ren Faire. Love it.
So what did you do at the Ren Fair? Were you the lady who sold pickles? Did you point people in the direction of the privy? Please tell me that you spoke in period language and had to wear a period costume. And where are the pictures of said events?
That'd be great.
Thank Thank God there was no cell phone cameras then, because it's 100 years ago. But yes, you had to dress in costume. Yes, I had an excellent accent. And yes, I was often taken for someone who was from Great Britain by people from Great Britain. So, little tap to my shoulder for myself, mainly because I learned my accent from Monty Python. So, I think that says everything. And
Ah,
I sold, this is the embarrassing thing. The first season, I sold giant turkey legs and that kind of stuff,
okay.
steak on a stick. And the second season, I managed my own food stand, which is primarily fresh fruits.
It sounds delicious. Everything that you did sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Ren Fairs are a lot of fun, especially the food. It's not quite period accurate, but yeah, but
Is
no
anything
one goes there
period
for
accurate of those events?
I suppose maybe if there were a salmonella outbreak, that would be period accurate. You
Yeah,
know,
or jousting. Do they
yeah,
have jousting?
showing up and getting scurvy, that would be period accurate. But the
Or
food's usually,
rickets?
yeah, the food's usually tasty, gives you an opportunity to eat with your hands, and it's always a lot of fun, especially the dressing up. And I used to the PA Ren Fair. I would go there once or twice a year, and I have amassed quite an arsenal from the sword shop there. You look horrified, Gina.
Yeah. I have never been to a Renaissance fair. Most of my knowledge about medieval times or more separately Renaissance times, which are two different things,
Thank
Yes.
you.
come from reading about them or the senior trip to Florida and going to medieval times outside of Disney World. That's
Uh,
about it.
in
I don't
Kissimmee,
have.
Florida. That's where that one is.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
about all I've got. I don't know.
No,
I mean,
there's
the
like
jousting was great though.
there's giant chests, there's the beautiful flower headpieces that my friends used to sell. For me, it's where all my friends worked, so we all worked there on the weekends. We were always all together then. My friends were
Mm.
we were definitely the nerds, you know what I mean? Renaissance fair on the weekends, dressing up as Star Trek people during the week, not me, them. Even I have my boundaries.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thank God.
Okay. You know what? Your friends sound like fun people.
Yeah, sounds
Sure,
like
they
my
were.
kind of
Yeah, these
people.
absolutely my people. Because I would do the same thing. I think I still have half my Ren costume in my closet somewhere.
That's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, please check out
So
the New Jersey Ren Fair. You may not see Gabe and Gina there this year, but you might find
Right.
Joe buying the latest weapon
I
for
just,
his collection.
yeah, I feel I have to ask this. I have to ask this for the record because it's Joe. By Ren costume, you mean Renaissance, not Ren and Stimpy, right? You mean,
Ren as in
yeah,
Renaissance,
you
yes.
don't
Not
have a Ren costume from,
no, I
okay.
don't. That would be wildly historically inaccurate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. For the period.
For
For
the
sure.
period, yeah. Yeah.
Joe, who should you call to ensure your weapons collection?
You know what? I'm pretty sure that's an easy thing because they can insure just about anything. If I want to insure my weapons collection,
That's right.
I will call Diversified Insurance. See Diversified Insurance for all your commercial and personal insurance needs. They are a value-added firm. They provide unsurpassed service, consult with you to determine your needs, and offer you a choice of insurance plans and programs. They are a value hunter who can find the best combination of coverage, service, and price. Contact them today at 609 567 7771 or visit their website at diversifiedinsuranceofnj.com.
That Saturday, May 31st, there will be a first aid class at the Waterford Township Public Library at 386 Whitehorse Pike in Echo, entitled First Aid Before Help Arrives. This class is being led with the Waterford Township EMS and is for teens and adults. And this is for people who always say, what steps should I take before emergency help arrives? Or what important information should you provide when calling 911? And this hands-on Q&A session will give attendees the opportunity to learn vital skills like how to stop a bleed, the basics of CPR, and much more. Space is limited. Be sure to register early, and you can learn more at the Waterford Township Library's website or on social media. As a former Girl Scout, I took several first aid classes and CPR classes, and I've been thinking the last year or two that I need to get recertified again. If I didn't have a wedding this weekend, I would be attending this because it's important. Are you guys certified in CPR or first aid?
No, I haven't undergone any sort of CPR training since we did it in health class, I think,
Yeah.
junior or senior year
You did that in your
when
health
they
class?
when they had the dummy whose
That's no way to
name
talk about your classmates.
for
Ouch.
reasons I can't possibly explain, I remember the dummy's name was Annie.
It's your sister.
That's your sister's name. That's
I
why
did
you
not
remember.
practice CPR on my sister.
That's weird.
This
I
got very
know.
awkward.
Yeah.
You made it
I
awkward.
don't know.
You made it awkward.
You're awkward by
mean-
telling us the dummy's name.
Yeah, first you
Okay.
called your sister a dummy. I wouldn't do that either.
You're both fired. Fired? Period.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
Wow,
This is now
Annie,
the
we don't
go
talk
hour.
about you like this.
Yeah,
We used to
Annie,
work
we
with
would
you.
never call you a dummy like your brother did. And we'd never give you
Press CPR on you.
I don't know CPR. We didn't learn it in health class, but we had Lou Salmonetti and Buddy Treen, so I don't know if we would have learned
Was
a lot.
CPR around when you were in high school, Gabe?
Yes, CPR was around. Graduated in 1991, not 1961. But even though I had Mr. Salmonetti, who was my father's freshman basketball coach at St. Joe, when I was at Hammonton, I had him as a health teacher. But no, we didn't do that. We didn't do CPR. I don't know why.
I can't remember if that was, it might have been in Kim Gruccio's class. I think she might have been the teacher when we learned it. It was either her or Carl France.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did learn it, but I haven't had occasion, thank God, to use it since at any time in the ensuing 30 years. I do remember that have the song Staying Alive in your head.
Yeah.
And administer CPR to the beat of that song because that's the perfect timing for chest compressions. But to say that I've used it, not since high school.
Okay. If you want to help in a different way, there is going to be a blood drive. Tuesday, June 3rd, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Elvins Hall, which is Hammonton Fire Company number 2. This American Red Cross blood drive is in memory of Howard McCree of the Hammonton Fire Company. If you want to give blood to this event, please call 1-800-RED-CROSS, 1-800-733-2767, or visit redcrossblood.org and enter Howard McCree, and that's McCree, M-A-C-R-I, to schedule your appointment. Blood drives are very valuable. It helps so many people every time blood is donated, so we do encourage you to get out there.
I agree.
And it's a nice way to remember, of course, a local firefighter in Howard McCree. So I think it's great that they continue to honor his memory in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love when we have events like that continue to honor people who've passed. Another one that's coming up is the 9th annual Steve Rooney Memorial Half-Ball Tournament. That's this Saturday, May 31st. Again, Steve Rooney passed away, oh gosh, I want to say in 2011. And his family has been having this fundraiser tournament every year for many years now. This is, what did I say it was? It's the 9th annual. So again, it's another way to remember people in different ways that are not just typical, they're really community oriented, whether it's a half-ball tournament with all the different teams or it's the Howard McCree blood drive. So there is something to be said for that. In other news, there's a lot happening right now. And Gabe, I'm wondering if you could give us the Rocco's Townhouse community calendar.
I sure can, Gina. And I want to say as we always say, Rocco's Townhouse prides themselves on being a spot where everyone can meet and eat delicious appetizers, entrees, burgers, and more, along with a full bar and plenty of craft beers on tap. Gina and I were just, Joe, at Rocco's with one of your favorite people, my mother, taking her out for her belated birthday dinner. So we were part of the everyone that meets at the Townhouse this past weekend. So remember, everyone meets at the Townhouse, 21 North 3rd Street in Hammonton. Call them at 609-561-9384 or visit roccostownhouse.com. And now the Rocco's Townhouse community calendar. Stop in to Rocco's Townhouse before heading to the Pittman Theater on June 5th to celebrate the power of legendary women in music with Ray Raddick's iconic Women of Music. This high energy tribute show features timeless hits from icons like Dolly Parton, Cher, Stevie Nicks, Tina Turner, Shania Twain, Janis Joplin, and more. Also of note, Saturday, May 31st will be the third annual car show and yard sale at Victory Bible Church. There will be a bake sale and a food truck at the event and a bouncy house for the kids. Yard sale is 8 a.m. till noon, and the car show goes from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Folsom will be holding its annual Memorial Day service on June 1st, 2025 at 9 a.m. at Borough Hall. All are welcome to attend. And the Hammonton Cancer Foundation invites you to their annual Walk for Our Neighbors, dedicated to supporting local families affected by cancer. Saturday, June 7th, 2025 is the date of the event, and it's rain or shine. Registration opens at 9 a.m. The walk is held at Hammonton Middle School track. More information on all events can be found online.
Thanks, Gabe. Did you guys know that the dawn of the robot workforce began in 1961, right in Ewing Township, when General Motors rolled out the first machine to take over a human job? When the robots rise, just remember, Jersey lit the fuse. Did you guys know that?
No,
Yeah.
but that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are many people out there that would not be surprised to know that the end of the world will be New Jersey's fault.
I think
So,
we've lived through this in 1938 with Orson Welles and Grover's Mills, with them shooting up a water tower they thought was a large Martian robot.
yeah,
The end of the world has already been broadcast.
yeah. And okay, robot uprising thanks to North Jersey too, so that tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I did not know that. I may have slept a little better if I had never known that, but now I have that knowledge, and so do all of
Odds
you.
and ends, New Jersey odds and ends. I'm here for you, Joe.
Yeah, 'cause
And
it's an odd fact that
was
leads to the end of the world, so
right?
odds and
What
ends.
was the company again?
I don't remember. No, it was our friends at General Motors.
Oh,
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Well, they always, why not? It
Yeah.
makes sense. General Motors now, like basically they're rolling out the new model, and it's iRobot. So that's great.
Good time. And it was the 60s, so they were probably thinking, okay, we'll make a robot like Rosie on Jetsons, or Robbie the robot, or whatever the robot's name, who I don't think was given a name other than Ninny on Lost in Space. Danger Robinson. It fits right along in there. But no, that's not where our cybernetic workforce has been heading. But nice try.
Yeah, it leans a little bit more toward Terminator.
Yeah.
Happy to
Yes,
help.
it does. Yeah.
There's an opportunity coming up for people to learn from experts on how to navigate business procurement. This is called the New Jersey Pathways Business Forum. Gabe, can you provide some details?
I certainly can, Gina, and I thank you for that lead in. The state of New Jersey will be providing the New Jersey Pathways Business Forum, a place where business owners come and learn from the experts how to navigate public and private procurement. And this is a landmark event, calling it that. It's going to be held June 13th, 2025, Rutgers University, New Brunswick, Livingston campus, which is in Piscataway, New Jersey. And there are a few reasons to do it. Registration is coming up. It's limited. So if you go to their website, you'll see some information on that. But basically, the reasons to attend this forum include being able to connect directly with access to procurement officials at the federal, state, local, and private enterprise level. You can get certified with on-site support for obtaining your business certification and other certification related support. There's contract preparation. There's easy access to expert guidance where you can receive personalized advice from business development specialists on tools and strategies to build your business. And there's ways to make connections and network with prime contractors subcontractors, state and local agencies, and businesses. This is everything from the U.S. Small Business Administration and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection to New Jersey Transit, University Hospital, PSE&G, Hudson County, Essex County, the New Jersey Department of Treasury. So there's a lot of different reasons to get involved, and I would just say don't miss the opportunity.
I think a lot of businesses don't know how to do these different steps and how to take their business to that next level and to get in with the governments of New Jersey and the Fed. So this is an opportunity to learn their steps. It's like insider knowledge that is being made accessible to you. And you need to learn how to do it to get those contracts. And I think it's our responsibility at this podcast to let businesses know, hey, here's how you can go learn how to do this so you can grow your business. And we just want to provide you with the information to know that's even out there, because so many businesses don't even know that these opportunities exist. And that's what we want people to know about.
Yeah, I was actually going to say something very similar. They don't know, but businesses, a lot of them don't know these opportunities exist. They don't know who to contact to ask questions, and may not even know what questions to ask. So with something like this, businesses are afforded the opportunity to go and learn things that they didn't even know were out there that may apply to them. And I think it's a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah. And the last bit is a lot of business owners are busy running their business.
The
Yeah.
day to day.
But they have to understand to take this kind of time to go and network this way will make their businesses exponentially better. Just it's a good opportunity.
So I found an article online, and I'm either really happy Hammonton's not on this list, or I want to know who Vineland's PR people are, because they are just knocking it out of the park. First, it's a great place to retire, and now it's number 2 on U.S. News and World Report's list of best places to live in New Jersey. And it's who is marketing. I'll say this: who are the ad wizards that came up with this?
And why don't we have any of those ad wizards?
My guess would be that newspaper editors are still afraid of Charles Landis's ghost, so they treat Vineland very nicely.
Yeah,
among the
more like Yuri Caruth's ghost.
Okay, the 14 best places to live in New Jersey, according to U.S. News and World Report, are Clifton, Vineland, number 2, Jersey City, Bayonne, Elizabeth, Passaic, Union City, New Brunswick, East Orange, Patterson, Newark, Trenton, Camden, and Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Atlantic City's median household income, according to this article, is $39,286. The median home value is $221,000, and the median monthly rent is $1,011. Vineland, number 2, median monthly rent is $976. The annual household income is $69,678. And the median home value is $214,793. Okay. So is it because our rents are higher, or what's the deal? But where's Hammonton?
That's got to be the criteria.
I think you also guys have to look at it a different way, which is this. Maybe it's also a function of who is voting, and meaning these are USA Today, I'm assuming, in
this
some
is
way,
U.S.
shape,
News
or
and World Report.
U.S. News and World Report.
I'm sorry, U.S. News and World Report.
Yeah.
Readers in some way, shape, or form. So that doesn't strike me as like a wide number of people. Because U.S. News and World Report, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's been a while since they were a very big magazine, and now they're not even a mag. Are they still publishing? I don't even know.
If they are still online.
Yeah, they're online. That's what I mean. In other words, you're getting a sample based on a very discrete number of people who voted in this poll.
I don't think it's a voting. I'm reading their methodology. They looked at the quality of life index, a value index, and that quality of life index, quality of education, quality and availability of healthcare.
Okay, so it's
air
all
quality,
internal.
Environmental risk, state economy, state infrastructure.
I'm just asking. It was all internal.
Yeah,
the job market.
That's
Well,
what
these
it
are
looks
all
like.
These are all reports.
And if it was all internal, then I'll even amend what I said earlier, that it's an even smaller number
No, I think it's
of
using
people.
data from Applied Geographic Solutions, its own internal resources, Census Bureau, Department of Commerce, Federal Reserve. That they had numbers. There's data involved in what they went into it.
Yeah, I mean, like the desirability index has things like crime rates, which I think they might have ignored, weather, temperateness, culture, leisure index, commuter index, job market index, net migration, and so forth. So I
But
suppose that there is.
What
there's
is
even a
the
fancy formula with the Greek letter
Mhm.
E.
Back up? What is the exact phraseology of these communities are? What's the exact
Best
phraseology
places to live
Yeah,
in New Jersey?
in New Jersey.
2025, 2026 best places to live in New
I'm
Jersey.
not trying to
Yeah.
disparage Jersey City, Passaic, and Camden. Or Atlantic City,
Or even Vineland.
but I'm not trying to disparage them. But are you going to tell me that like Rumson or some of the communities down the shore are not on this list?
Or vaunted
O-
Haddonfield.
Ocean City, Stone Harbor, Cape May. I'm
Yeah,
just
I mean,
throwing some names out there.
Livingston.
like,
Livingston, whatever you guys do up there in Livingston.
okay, all right. They've got math to back them up. They've got math to support them, but I question whatever data supplied the numbers to run said formulas. I find much of this list, not all of it, but much of this list hard to believe that these are the 14 best places in the state of New Jersey. Some of them seem a little off, but they've got the
Yeah,
math and I don't.
Yeah.
yes.
Is this the Chat GPT list? I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, if you had told
Or
me Vineland by acreage was number two, it's actually number one, I think. The
It is by
size,
acreage.
then
I just
yeah,
think
okay.
Vineland is running a heck of a PR campaign, and we need to talk to someone like a Tony Quigley and find out what they're doing because they're getting some strong PR.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
You know,
Talk to the mayor.
I
You
know
know,
Tony though. I don't know the man.
well, you can talk to the
Hmm.
mayor as well. Poor Tony.
You know, but hey, good for them.
Yeah.
Joe, you learned some sad news over the weekend about a colleague of yours who passed away. Do you want to share a little bit with us?
Yeah. Sometime during the night on Saturday, which I believe was the 24th, Peter David, comics legend, media tie in writer extraordinaire, passed away at the age of 68. Peter had been battling health issues for a number of years. He had been in the hospital since November of 2022. He had originally gone in for kidney failure, a series of mini strokes, and I believe Peter had a mild heart attack. And every time his health improved, he hit another setback. And every time his health improved, he hit another setback. For those of you who are familiar with Peter, he needs no introduction. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Peter had a legendary run on the Incredible Hulk comic series, X Factor, Young Justice, Spider-Man 2099. His Star Trek novels are some of the best that were ever written. His characterization of Q, the character portrayed by John Delancey, was spot on, hysterical. He created a whole new series of characters in universe, which was Star Trek New Frontier. And on top of that, Peter was a nice guy. When my book came out, New Life and New Civilizations, it was about Star Trek comics. It came out in 2014 and it premiered at a science fiction convention in Maryland, Shore Leave. Peter was the very first person to buy my book, and I didn't know him. I'd seen him as a fan. I met him at a convention in Atlantic City in '92. Then there was New York Comic Con. I think it was 2007 or 2008 when he had adapted Stephen King's The Dark Tower into a comic series. I met him then, but again, as a fan. But this was the first time that I had met him as a colleague. And to have Peter David, whose work I grew up reading and loving and admiring, having him buy my book, I don't know that I could probably articulate that. And then over the next several years, Peter and I were on panels together, on discussion panels, sitting next to one another, discussing Star Trek comics, the 50th anniversary of Star Trek, science fiction in general. We had breakfast together at conventions. I don't claim to know him nearly as well as his friends and colleagues, but Peter was
He's
Peter
someone who
was a
had an
good
impact on
person.
your life. He was someone important to you.
Peter was one of the best ones out there, and I can't begin to express my sympathy to his wife, Kathleen, to his children, his family, and his close friends, especially Bob Greenberger, Howie Weinstein. I'm thinking of you guys. This is rough. Peter was one of the good ones, and I don't know when we'll see another one like him.
Oh, I appreciate you sharing that with us, Joe.
And Joe, I would say, just to follow up on that as a writer, you'll never forget the moment that he, as a peer, bought your book.
No. If I do nothing else for the rest of my life, the guy whose work I admired and loved bought my work.
Yeah, it's
and
amazing.
There's
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You'll never forget that.
No.
Do you think you're going to write something about him, Joe?
Probably. Yeah. I almost definitely. Yes.
Well, we look forward to reading that. Thank you. Yeah. It's always hard when you lose someone that you guys spend time with and you're like, oh, we had one more meal, one more convention together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One more discussion. So sorry for that.
He was fun. He was a lot of fun.
Gabe, please tell our listeners about our sponsor, DeMeglio Septic and Quality Sanitation.
DeMeglio Septic and Quality Sanitation are here for a variety of services, including septic pump out, grease trap service, high pressure jetting, portable toilets, and more. Call 609-561-3597 or go to demiglioseptic.com for DeMeglio Septic, or call 609-561-4666 for quality sanitation. Experience the DeMeglio difference, a promise of superior service, quality, and reliability.
Thanks, Gabe. New Jersey has been the setting for many a TV show. And we want to ask all of our listeners out there, which TV show do you think represented New Jersey the best over the years? And we've narrowed down our list to 4. Sopranos, Jersey Shore, Boardwalk Empire, or my favorite, Real Housewives of New Jersey. Which TV show really is the best representation of our state? Don't talk
I'm
all
going
at
to have
once.
to not go with I'm going to have to not go with Jersey Shore.
That's a New York show.
I'm sorry, that was an abomination from start to finish. There was nothing real about the Real Housewives of New Jersey. I'm going to have to look, there's nothing real about reality television in general. I'm sorry, there's not. So I'm going to have to
It's
go
a
with
misnomer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
should call it like Unreal.
Yeah, they should call it TV to get around paying the writers is what they should call it.
Definitely true.
Yeah.
They were AI before it was AI.
Yeah. Pay the writers. I'd have to go with either Sopranos or Boardwalk Empire, but I think I'm going to give it to Boardwalk Empire because that's South Jersey based, and Hammonton was in it a few times. So that's
inspired by the book by Hammonton's own Nelson Johnson.
There is also that.
That's
right.
right.
I'm going to go with that, although I would say that I don't know about the ins and outs of the particular business illustrated on The Sopranos. I can't speak to that veracity, but I will say at the very least, we knew those guys. We've hung out with those guys. Maybe not those exact characters, but we all knew them. Tell me you haven't had coffee at the diner with Paulie Walnuts at least once in your life. Yeah.
Or his equivalent is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Ganger.
For me, obviously, it's Jim Tan Laundry all the way. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to go
As
with
we already
Jersey
established, we're not
Shore.
shore people, so.
Yeah, we're not going to go with that. And even if I was, I wouldn't hang out with those people at the shore. They do look sometimes like they were a lot of fun, but it wasn't my kind of fun. But here's the thing. I got to go with The Sopranos, even though, there's always people say, oh, Italian Americans and this and that. It's such good writing.
Yeah.
Such good writing. And there's a crossover between Nelson Johnson and Boardwalk Empire and I want Terry Winter and The Sopranos, I think it
I
had.
believe you're correct.
And I would say the number one episode that now a lot of people cite, right, for The Sopranos is, while not filmed in the Pine Barrens, we have often remarked about the Pine Barrens during this podcast, and it is called the Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
And Paulie Walnuts, right, and
Christopher.
gets stuck down there, and a Russian gets away, and it is a whole scene, and it's considered one of almost the most zen-like episodes of what was a pretty manic show.
Oh, yeah.
But that episode, people always point to and say, the one I really remember, the Pine Barrens. So I would say The Sopranos for me is the favorite. For me.
I'm going Housewives because I just obsessed with that show and have been. It's the only Real Housewives I ever watched. I've seen Teresa Giudice come to Hammonton at least once, maybe twice. I went to the Posh Fashion Show. So I'm a total fangirl for the show. I love the accents, the over-the-top New Jersey attitude. And I think it's a caricature of the gardens of our state, like the way they portray it, the excess everything. And I think it's because we are a little state with so much personality. Like, we think we're California. We're not. But we have the attitude of Californians. Like, we want to be a big state, a bigger state.
We are the most densely populated state in the union.
Yeah. Gina, can you do right now for us a dramatic reenactment of Teresa flipping the table from the first
Season?
year of...
I would just like to say that for someone who says they're not a fan, the fact that you know that,
I'm not a fan. I remember
interviewed-
someone who watched a lot of it in our house.
And I
You may know her.
interviewed Caroline Manzo when I think she was doing like a book tour, maybe. I don't remember. She was on the original cast. So totally love my Real Housewives of New Jersey. My second runner-up would be The Sopranos. I think when people think of New Jersey, they do think of Italian Americans. And that show really did capture a lot of the culture of Italian Americans in New Jersey. So there's something to be said for that. The cooking, the family, the food. The other business attitudes, I can't speak to that. There was some things that I think the three of us could relate to in the way that they handled the Italian American culture of New Jersey.
Yeah. Look, the underground economy was definitely a front row seat in that show. Side thing you say about the New Jersey culture, just a funny thing. They would repeatedly lose to the West Wing. The West Wing was going at the same time at the Emmys. But I do remember that one thing they did that the West Wing couldn't touch was they rolled up in a converted New Jersey Transit bus for the Emmy Awards, the cast of The Sopranos, and got out of the bus. And I just thought that was such a Jersey. No one else would even think, we're not going to go in a limo. We're not California. We're going to go in a New Jersey Transit, converted New Jersey Transit bus. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
And while James Gandolfini was the star of that show, Stevie Van Zandt being on that show and seeing him act and being part of the most iconic band of New Jersey, Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band, like there was some awesome crossover there. And it was like, man, this is so cool. So I'll give Sopranos that. But that's okay. That's okay. On a much more serious note, this is an awful transition, and I don't even know how. The Colonel Lewis R. Francine Camp number 7 is holding its annual traditional Memorial Day service at Greenmount Cemetery on Friday, May 30th at 6 p.m. Memorial Day, also known as Decoration Day, was established to be held on May 30th originally. It has since been moved to, I guess it would be the last Monday in May. This organization, which dates back to the Civil War, celebrates it on the original date, Decoration Day of May 30th. There's usually a volley of rifle fire. Is that how I say that?
Yeah, a rifle volley. Yeah.
Yes. And it's held at the statue in Greenmount Cemetery for the Civil War. Gabe, you've been there. Joe, you've been there. This is a neat event.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't draw a lot of people.
No.
But I love it because they don't care. They're going to do it whether there was no one there at all.
Yep.
And they're right in the shadow of, yes, the Grand Army of the Republic statue, which is a classic statue in and of itself, sitting atop the hill at what we call a hill in Hammonton of Greenmount Cemetery. Joe, you're a cemetery guy. What do you think of this being done each year?
I've enjoyed it every year that I've gone. There's definitely a solemnity to it. Every member is in full regalia. They play taps on a bugle. There's a whole, not necessarily, I don't know if the ritual is the word I want to go with, but there's a basic rundown that they follow every year, and
The
it's
ceremony.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a great way to honor the veterans that are there in general, but the Civil War veterans specifically, because these are the only guys really giving them recognition. There's no plaque anywhere in the town of Hammonton yet noting who the Civil War veterans were. They really picked up the baton from the Grand Army of the Republic, the Sons of the Union veterans, and they're keeping the fires burning, which I think is important.
Joe, as we build up towards the weekend, what is the weather going to be like this week?
It's New Jersey. If you don't like it, wait 5 minutes. But since you asked, it does sound like it is time for the Oddcast forecast, according to the app on my smartphone, and sponsored by Ben Castone Landscaping. Call Ben Castone for all your landscaping needs at 609 561 3452. They're here to keep your yard looking great no matter what the season or the weather, which is going to be up and down this week. Wednesday, we are looking at a 74% chance of rain with a high of 62 and a low of 58. Possibility of rain continues into Thursday morning. It should be at least not clearing, but becoming cloudy by the end of the day with a high of 74 and a low of 61. And then we warm up a little bit more on Friday. We're looking at partly cloudy to partly sunny with a high of 80 and a low of 62.
Thanks, Joe. We're also proud of our merchandise that we have here at the Oddcast. Joe, can you tell us a little bit about our merch line?
Absolutely. You want mugs? We got them. You want tumblers, magnets, hats? We got them. Shirts? We got them in black and green.
Woohoo!
And all you have to do
Looking
is
good.
visit jersey-oddcast.printify.me, and we are donating all of the profits through July 1st to the Mount Carmel Festival. So you're buying cool stuff and you're helping out a good cause all at the same time.
We
Yeah,
want to thank
people.
everyone who's ordered so far, and we can't wait to see what that total is going to be when we make our donation this
Yep.
summer. So thank
I
you.
was saying that people are eager to pick up stuff and support the cause, and that's great. And also, they love it. They love how it looks. They love the hat. They love the shirts. They love the mug. There you
Yeah.
go. Joe's got it on. Looking good.
Thank
Joe's
you.
stylish as always.
Absolutely.
Looking good.
Thanks. And where can people find us if they want to get in contact with us to advertise, to learn more about the Oddcast, or to learn more about us? What can they do, Joe?
We're all around town, so just ask us if you see us out. But for more information, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Bluesky. Listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or iHeartRadio. Email us at jerseyoddcast@gmail.com or call us at 609 444 6178.
Thank you. And thanks for another great episode, Joe and Gabe. We appreciate it. And
Thank you.
remember, normal is just a setting on the dryer. This is the Jersey Oddcast. We'll see you next time, Modballs.
My word.